I certainly think that it's important to recognise that if you want people to work together, you want people to stick together, you've got to bring them together, and that is certainly something that I carry with me in my role. And I think it's also important that we not necessarily jump because of harsh words out of dark corners.
OK, that was Ed Husic a short time ago. Probably the most poignant and profound defence of him came from Josh Frydenberg. Now, he's from the other side of the political fence. He's a Liberal, he's the member for Kooyong, and also he is prominent himself in the Jewish community. I spoke to Mr Frydenberg a short time ago and asked him for his reaction to the criticism of his political opponent.
Well, I think, Nick, that the attacks on Ed Husic for being sworn in on a Quran are disgraceful. I mean, in Australia we live in a democracy where freedom of religion is paramount, and these attacks are completely inconsistent with that.
Some of the things you've read on Facebook and some of the talkback radio, what does it say about an element of our society?
Look, there is an ugly side to parts of society where there are extremists and there are racists, but they're in a minority. But wherever we see that sort of bigoted behaviour, we should call it out and we should expose it for what it is, which is that it's un-Australian. And I think these attacks on Ed for being sworn in on a Quran are un-Australian, and I repudiate them entirely.
When you were sworn in, what were you sworn in with?
I was sworn in on a Old Testament because it's consistent with my Jewish faith. In fact, it was a Bible that was given to me by Sir Zelman Cowen, who was the former Governor-General of Australia, that he used to be sworn in on. So, that's an important book for me, and, it was consistent with my religion. But, Ed chose to be sworn in on the Quran, and, that's entirely up to him, and I think he should be supported for doing so.
In your political life, I mean, you've been very open about the fact that you're Jewish and you're obviously a big supporter of Israel, and I understand all of that. Have you found that in your political life you too have been criticised for your faith?
Well, not really, but I'm a supporter of what's in Australia's interest, Nick, and my duty first and foremost is to the Australian Parliament. But I look at what has happened to Ed and these criticisms, and I just feel very uncomfortable about them. I mean, Ed's got a wonderful personal story. His parents are Bosnian Muslims who came to Australia in the 1960s. His father worked on the Snowy Hydro scheme. His mother was a health worker, and he was born in Australia, and he's the first Muslim to be a member of the Australian Parliament. What a great story that is, and for it to be overshadowed in a way with these sort of nasty remarks is very unfortunate.
Well, Mr Frydenberg, can I say how refreshing it is to hear that about someone who's across the aisle, who's obviously a political opponent, after so much of the hatred we've been hearing about politically over the past couple of months. It's very refreshing to hear principle standing above politics.
Well, thanks, Nick. And, I believe that all my coalition colleagues would join me in what I'm saying, because we want to see civility in public life, but we also don't want to see this side of Australia. We don't want to see attacks on people because of their religion. And Ed's been promoted, and all power to him. I'm hoping the best side wins at the forthcoming election, so I don't hide that fact. But,
you look forward to whacking him for political reasons.
Exactly right, but not for for the purposes of his religion. That's for sure.
Josh Frydenberg, member for Kooyong. I do appreciate your time.
Thanks, Nick.